on Remnant Fellowship, his interview with Michael Shamblin, the son of Gwen Shamblin, and just the series of stories on that. We'll go back to the phones here. Let's go to Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey, good evening, Ben, and good evening, Phil, to you. And I just want to say I enjoy you and your whole team, the rest of the people who are involved with the Channel 5 investigative team. We definitely need people with some courage to stick up for the citizens of Tennessee. But along with that, I would just like to slightly get off subject and ask, are you going to do an investigation? I wish you would, for SNAP benefits and what's happening with Commissioner Carter and the Governor Lee, when you have families right now that are sitting in apartments, if they're fortunate enough to have housing and not homeless, that they can't get food benefits, and we pay into the state system. What the problem is this long of a time for these people not having their SNAP benefits. And I would hope that you would do a little, you guys would maybe dive into that a little bit more aggressively. And I'll just hang up and listen, but I do appreciate your tenacity in the past. And side note, do you ever plan on growing your mustache back? And I hope you guys have a great night.
I think there were a lot of comments about the mustache from the 20 years ago.
Yeah, my wife has said a definite no on that. So,
so she doesn't want that. That's funny. I know we've done stories about the SNAP benefits, and that's important. And we've done it on this show. We've talked about it. And Mike, I'm glad that you bring it up. I mean, that is a big issue. People are not getting benefits that they desperately need. And I'm sure you get tons of calls.
Yeah, and I think he really brings up a good point, and you and I have talked about this some. I mean, there are some really serious issues out there, and it's overwhelming at times because I'm spending a lot of time looking at how Capitol Hill really works. Remnant was a departure, but I'm back on the air Monday night with a really solid investigation about how Tennessee's Capitol Hill really works. Sometimes, to use the cliche, it really is like drinking water out of a fire hose.
Yeah, I liken it. You're at on a tennis court and somebody's just shooting tennis balls, and it's like you pick one and then you've got to examine that one, and they're flying by, their tons flying by. That is a major issue. And I know our station has done it. We've had reporters do it, and we'll continue to look at it. But there is so much out there.
But thank you for mentioning it and putting it on my radar.
Yes. Okay. As far as Remnant, what was another of the stories that just kind of blew your mind when you're talking to Michael Shamblin? What was another story that just kind of shocked you?
Gosh, I'm trying to think back because Michael was so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And allowed himself to just share so much that he had been holding back.
He was so candid. He talked about how Joe Laura, who was his stepdad, I guess, so his mom remarried, divorced his dad, married Joe Laura, who was Tarzan, threatened him. Right. What about that?
He told the story about that Joe Laura and Gwen Shamblin Laura had this plan to try to get a reality TV show. And that they had always feared that if there was anyone who would ever cause problems for the family, that it might be him. And so Joe Laura had taken him out behind this plantation-style home that Gwen Shamblin owned on Franklin Road in Brentwood, and showed him a sniper's bullet, and basically said, this could be used to take you out at 1,200 yards. Which he perceived as a threat.
Oh, why wouldn't that? Yeah, that's crazy. And it was very interesting, the details that he went into about how they watched their members. And you alluded to that a little bit earlier, but in the story you go into much greater detail. They could determine whether somebody was watching, or they would use videos of a testimony against them if they were to leave the church.
Exactly. So if someone left and complained about the church and tried to generate publicity, they would have these testimonials that they had encouraged people to give when they came into the church, talking about how great the church was, how great Gwen Shamblin was. And according to Michael Shamblin, it was a deliberate tactic to collect this information so that they would be able to pull it out. And looking back at our 2004 investigation, that's exactly what they had done with us. We had a family that went on camera and was critical of Remnant Fellowship, and they said, well, take a look at their testimonies. That's not what they said before.
They were going to show you, to discredit them, what they had said.
Exactly. And then, he had examples of where someone supposedly was, drifting away from the church, saying that he was, watching on a webcast of the service instead of being at church. Well, they had documented, how often he left the services, the in-person services, early. They had logs of when he had logged into the webcast, and so that they could confront him with his webcast viewing. So it very much hands-on, very, very controlling, which for those who, criticize certain groups as being cults, that's one of the things they look at, is being very controlling. Even I noticed in working on these stories that there are some services that are posted online, not very many, but the one I saw it was a Wednesday night service. It began not with a reading from the Bible, but with a reading from Gwen Shamblin. Wow.
And you ask her, are you a prophet, as you alluded to?
Yeah.
That's when you're beginning to get into, you ask Michael Shamblin about his mom. He called her a narcissist, said she always knew the answer.
Right.
None of this, I don't know, and that kind of thing. She was just very sure of herself and cultivated this following.
Right. And when I asked her in 2004, was she a prophet? She dodged the question. She was like, I don't know what to call myself. Some people call me a prophet. Now, fast forward to 2019, she's married Joe Lara. She's involved in a custody battle with his ex-wife over a child, and she's asked in a videotaped deposition, "Are you a prophet? What is your title?" And in response to the question, "What is your title?" her response was, "I am Gwen."
Interesting. And where it stands now, I asked you earlier how many people, we really don't know.
Right.
But the daughter has big plans. His sister Elizabeth has big plans.
That's what she said in a recording that we obtained from a New Year's service at the beginning of the year. The odd thing about it is Remnant still views her as the leader. If you look at the website as of a few days ago, I haven't looked at it lately, it says that the church operates under her leadership and direction. And yet we're told that she actually doesn't come to church. She will phone in messages or record messages for the church. So it's this odd situation that she doesn't come to the services, and yet she's viewed as this leader who phones in or delivers her messages. There was some initial talk that, well, maybe she was just having a difficult time recovering because she not only lost her mother in that plane crash, she lost her husband.
Yeah.
But in this recording, she says, she's fine, she's great, that her following the Remnant teachings helped her get through that trauma. And so she discounts this notion that she's suffering from this sense of loss. Those who saw the documentary series on HBO Max, those who saw the image that we posted, she is very, very frail looking. People say anorexic looking. Michael Shamblin, I asked him about that, and out of respect for his sister, he just did not want to discuss that.
Yeah, I saw that. He didn't want to go there.
Right.
And he does very much respect his sister. And so when we don't know how large the church is, she wants to take it global. It was a big deal. The Way Down workshop was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
That was a huge deal. Was Remnant, has it been beyond that building? Could you, I'm sure, I guess you could worship online, but if you're outside of Franklin, Tennessee, is there a big Remnant Fellowship, or is it primarily there in Franklin?
There were followers throughout the country who would watch Remnant services through webcasts, but then they would frequently travel to Brentwood to be in person. And then lots of people chose to follow Remnant and uproot their families and move to Brentwood to be closer to the home church. And in some cases that meant, wives, for example, would leave with their children and leave their husbands behind.
That's one of the most disturbing things to me, are all the legal battles.
Right.
You don't see that in a normal church.
Right.
And you don't see a leader of a church saying, let's go to war in court over this or that against a former member.
And go back to 2001 when I first met Gwen Chamblin. There's a soundbite with her saying that she started Remnant because mainstream churches have gotten away from the core biblical principles, and she mentioned divorce being one of those, that there's too much divorce in the church. And then Remnant starts bringing in people and encouraging wives to divorce their husbands. Gwen Chamblin was married to her husband for almost 40 years. And then Joe Laura comes into the picture, starts attending Remnant, and then suddenly she decides, well, divorce isn't so bad. And so she divorces her husband David, and less than 2 months later marries Joe Laura in this very elaborate.
They're beautiful pictures, shockingly beautiful pictures.
The most elaborate wedding you'll see anywhere short of maybe one of the royalty in England.
What do we know? So we know that he was Tarzan, Joe Laura. What brought him to that area, to that church? Do you know much about him?
I think initially he came hoping for a music career, the reason a lot of people come. But the people who are critics of Joe Laura would say he had a history of latching on to women who might have resources. Is the criticism that people have of Joe Laura. And in fact, Michael Chamblin hypothesizes that Joe got in over his head and suddenly didn't realize that this would be all-consuming, that Gwen would control his life. And Michael theorizes that Joe actually wanted out.
Yeah, he said at one point he felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
The reason he flew so much was because he was wanting to get out of there.
Yeah.
And that's all fascinating. All right, we're going to take a break. If you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS. We will take a break, come back, continue our discussion, maybe talk about some other stuff as well. Be back right after this.